What's going on, you guys? It's Nico. Hope you guys are doing good. Saw this video here with Steven Crowder and this guy. I don't know who this guy Walsh is on here, but Steven Crowder is 100% right. Again, like with everything that he's saying about the reality after what happened to Charlie Kirk on September 10th, and the reality that all of us on the right and all of us that are Trump supporters and that are conservatives have been getting this violence for years now. And I mean, like, there's videos of people with MAGA hats on, all but going to restaurants and bars and stuff and being denied service, and it's all one-sided coming from the left. And so I just want you guys to hear this real quick, because this is the reality.
I think in relation to that I saw Charlie Kirk's producer today getting quite emotional as he talked about the difference, for example, between the reaction to the murder of George Floyd, which I thought was despicable, and the murder of Charlie Kirk, which was despicable, is that one precipitated nationwide rioting and lawlessness as people were so enraged they took to the streets, and the other took to people going to church.
Also, call me when Charlie Kirk died with a speedball. He mugged a woman with his toddler.
I thought it was an interesting.
George Floyd hurt people.
I thought it was an interesting observation, Joe, in terms of the difference.
And I appreciate that.
And that's the thing, is that, Charlie Kirk didn't go around robbing people or, stealing from people. And so it's like, to try to compare this to is that the left is doing is ridiculous.
Let me sneak in one more thing before Stephen goes off. Also, the assassination of Democratic Melissa Hortman in Minnesota by an anti-abortion Trump supporter, you didn't see violence after that. And the other thing you did not see after a... Let me finish, Stephen. Let me finish, brother.
The man who blamed Tim Walz. Truth matters. Dishonesty foments violence, Joe.
After a Democrat was assassinated in Minnesota, you also did not see the Democratic Party and the left declaring a war on the right, saying that they did it, the evildoers did it. This is a battle between good and evil. You didn't hear any of that.
Well, you know where that's a bunch of bullshit in regards to what this guy Walsh is saying, and Steven's right about this, and he said this before. Steven said this before on his show. Again, this is all one-sided. We're talking about years going back. We could go all the way back to, this started when Obama became president in 2009, and when Obama started that whole war on the police and had the media, focusing on every freaking police altercation and shooting that police officers were getting into with criminals, that this is when this crap started. And then the left have always gone and made and attacked us on the right. Once Donald Trump decided to run in 2016, they've been attacking us for years now. So what this guy Walsh is saying is a bunch of bullshit, and we know it's bullshit because the reality is that the reason why this is a war now, after what happened to Charlie Kirk, and then the fact that they took Charlie Kirk's life in front of his kids and his wife, and the fact that it's been years of them going in on all of us with the fact of of just the constant bullshit that we hear in the media of calling us Nazis, calling us fascists, calling all, if you're a Donald Trump supporter, saying you're a Nazi, and it's like, it's bullshit. All this bullshit that they've been doing for years now, it's officially war now. I mean, that's the reality of it. So this guy talking about saying, Democrats didn't declare war on it. Dude, you guys declared war on everybody that disagreed with your opinion the moment Obama became president. And the moment everyone criticized, any criticism towards Obama back in 2009, 2010, I remember that. I was in college in 2010 and 2009, and I remember the whole attitude of people that were Democrats. They were like, "Oh, if you're voting Republican, you must be a racist, then, because you don't or if you don't support Obama, you must be a racist." And it's like, what is that? In regards to me, it's just this mindlessness of the mind virus. Like, I must say that of the left, it's gotten to this point now where, unfortunately, we knew probably something like this was going to happen one day, where it was just going to be the final straw, which is why, as of yesterday, September 15th, 2025, with me recording this video, Jimmy Kimmel finally got fired. you know, because he made stupid comments talking about the guy that that killed Charlie Kirk, you know, claiming that he was a Trump supporter, and that, you know, then that it's all the bullshit. It's coming. It's the chickens are coming home to roost now for all these leftists and all these liberals. And so this guy Walsh and what he's saying is we know it's bullshit.
The Democrat was assassinated. We should condemn both, Pierce. Condemn anybody celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder.
And you go tell that to the people on social media that are posting that have been celebrating this shit for over a week now. The ones who are getting fired, the ones who are teachers, the ones who were these stupid college students. There was some girl that was, I think, in San Diego, who was running a church in San Diego that claimed to be Christian, who was celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, what kind of church is this? So go tell that to those people, you guys.
Condemn it. And we should also condemn anyone using Charlie Kirk's murder to declare some war on half of the country. And this is a battle between good and evil. Both of those reactions are dangerous and despicable.
Final word to Stephen. Stephen, final word to you.
Stephen, you got the final word.
Yeah, wrong. I think using Charlie Kirk as saying that he sold his soul to Trump before the body's even cold. I agree with Charlie Kirk's reaction to George Floyd because the media lied. Lies foment dishonesty. And I'm not calling for a civil war. I made it very clear I want the left to be able to continue to speak without security, as they often do. I just want them to be deathly afraid to try what they've been doing with the right for a very long, forevermore going forward. But if we talk about this, hey, there's one time that there weren't riots. Yeah, what about all the times that there were and they weren't registered as violent crime? Hurt anybody? George Floyd did. Charlie Kirk is very, very different from George.
Exactly. And the fact that all those riots that we had between 2012, it started with the Trayvon Martin bullshit. You know, it's in someone like me, you know, who's, you know, I'm half African American and I'm mixed, and, you know, so I am African American, you know, so I mean, when that bullshit went on, and I was one of the first people that, you know, called out, like a lot of other people that are conservative, to say, like, you know, no one had the facts. That was the moment, the psyop, when that whole psyop with Trayvon Martin is what triggered all this. And like Stephen's right, none of this stuff has been registered for years in regards to those incidents. You know, then like look at all the stuff that we found out this year, what was going on with, you know, the USAID money and the media, these media companies, and, you know, like CNN, MSNBC, and where their money was coming from and why they only have, you know, Democratic donors. And so it all makes sense now about who was really fueling all this crap over the last, you know, decade.
So dishonesty is what foments, I'll leave you with this, is what foments violence. And you know what? When you say war of good and evil, show me one time where the people who are actually evil are willing to paint a war of good and evil. Because you know what? If it ever comes to that, God forbid, maybe the people advocating for abortion up until and including birth and genital mutilation for children, including hiding them from their parents in the state of Minnesota, maybe they could look around at themselves and say, hey, if this is a war of good and evil, maybe we're the bad guys.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Yeah, thank you both so very much. I appreciate it, guys.
You know, it's just one of those things, like, yeah, well, Stephen is right, and like it's just, we're at a point now where this is the final straw, and a lot of the stuff that I've been covering, you know, the last couple of years, you know, and like been talking about on here, with the fact that all this crap, you know, with the woke crap and what they've done with that, and hilarious to watch Hollywood, you know, the fact that Hollywood has lost billions of dollars just within this last 5-year period. You know, and with the stupidity of their remakes and, you know, reimagining, and, you know, replacing people with, you know, replacing characters, you know, characters with the storylines that go back, you know, decades, and destroying that, and with, you know, for all the woke crap and everything, and that it's just, you know, it's hilarious that it, you know, with the fact that they still continue to try to live in their fantasy world. Talk about the leftists, that they leftists and these liberals out here continue to try to live in their fantasy world. And like Steven Crowder just says, we've all had enough of it. You know, that's just the reality of it. And, you know, that where this is heading and whatever's coming next, it's like, you know, it's all going to play out the way it's going to play out, because the left created all this crap. They're the ones that, you know, pushed and got us to this point. So anyway, hope you all doing good. Y'all stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.